You seek knowledge of the Noise Marines, do you? The Emperor's children who have transcended even the degradation of chaos itself? Then listen well, mortals, for I shall share the truths that would drive lesser minds to madness. For I have walked among them. I have heard their symphony, and I am still haunted by its terrible perfection. What I tell you now is heresy of the highest order. The Imperium would see you lobotomize for merely hearing these words. But if you have come seeking forbidden lore, then forbidden lore you shall receive. The Noise Marines did not begin with corruption. No, like all the most exquisite perversions, they began with art. Cast your mind back to the final days of the Great Crusade. The Emperor's children, oh how grand they were, paragons of perfection, devoted to the pursuit of excellence in all things. Their Primarch Fulgrim was perhaps the Emperor's greatest work, beautiful beyond mortal comprehension, and driven to master every conceivable skill. But perfection is a poison, isn't it? The more you taste it, the more you crave, and the Emperor's children were already addicted. When the 28th Expeditionary Fleet encountered the Lair, a serpentine xenospecies devoted utterly to Slaanesh, everything changed. The Emperor's children found their temple, a place where reality itself bent to pleasure and pain. Among those who entered that cursed place was a woman named Bequa Kynska. So remember that name, Bequa Kynska, the woman who would damn an entire legion. Kynska was Terra's greatest composer, a musician of such renown that even Fulgrim himself demanded her presence among his fleet. But she was also jaded, burnt out, a hedonist who had experienced everything mortal life could offer and found it all wanting. The perfect victim for what lurked in that Lair temple. When she emerged, she was inspired, touched by something beyond the material. She heard sounds, impossible sounds, that human instruments can never reproduce. So she did what any artist corrupted by chaos would do. She created new instruments. These were not mere musical devices, you understand. They were weapons, instruments of sonic destruction that could channel the raw energies of the warp through sound and light. She called her masterwork the Maraviglia, the marvel. The performance was held aboard the Pride of the Emperor in a hall called La Fenice. Fulgrim himself attended, along with hundreds of the Emperor's children and their mortal support staff, and they came expecting art. But they got so much more. As the Maraviglia began, the very fabric of reality screamed. The instruments, these sonic weapons, masquerading as musical devices, tore open a gateway between real space and the warp. The cacophony was disorienting, stimulating, and murderous. Some in the audience felt their organs rapture from the sound alone. Others experienced pleasure so intense that their minds simply shattered. Chaos mutations rippled through the crowd. Astartes and mortals alike were overwhelmed by the sensation and emotion. What followed was an orgy, and I use that word deliberately, of violence and hedonism that would make even the most jaded Slaaneshi cultist weep with envy. And then the demonettes came. 6 lesser demons of Slaanesh materialized, possessing the bodies of Kynska's singers. They joined the slaughter with razor claws and sensual malice. The musicians fell one by one, drained to husks or torn apart. Kynska herself died with a smile on her face, impaled by the very demonette that had possessed her lead singer, delighted by the wondrous thing she had created. But here is where the story becomes interesting. As the musicians died, several Emperor's children Astartes left their seats. They picked up these impossible instruments, and in their untrained hands, they discovered something extraordinary, that they could unleash waves of sonic power filled with the energies of chaos. They could weaponize music itself. These were the first of the Noise Marines, the first cacophony, a word meaning cacophony in Low Gothic. They would take to the battlefield at Isfahan 5, wielding their sonic weaponry as the Emperor's children committed fully to the service of the Dark Prince. The apothecary, Fabius Bile, the clone lord himself, recognized the potential. He began grafting new organs into the Emperor's children gene seed, augmentations that would make them even more sensitive to sound, more capable of wielding these Xenos-inspired weapons. The transformation had begun. So do you want to know truly what a noise marine is? Let me tell you what 10,000 years of service to Slaanesh has done to them. They are no longer capable of normal speech. To talk without shouting, without singing, causes them physical pain, and pain for anyone forced to listen. Their bodies have been so heavily modified, so corrupted by eldritch surgery and sorcerous flesh shaping, that they bear little resemblance to the Astartes that they once were. Their auditory senses have been enhanced beyond moral comprehension. Organs of empiric and Xenos origin have been grafted into their skulls. Some have submitted to biochemical alterations that make them sensitive to sounds no human could ever perceive. Mundane, exotic, even the fundamental vibrations of reality itself. The most blessed among them, the Lord Cacophonists, have undergone all of these modifications and more. They are living amplifiers, their very existence a testament to Slaanesh's twisted gifts. And their armor? Oh, their armor is a sight to behold. Garish pinks and purples, blacks and golds, arranged in patterns that seem to writhe and shift before your eyes. They adorn themselves with obscene symbols, with speakers and amplifiers, turning their bodies into mobile instruments of destruction and depravity. Their weapons, well, their weapons are works of terrible art. We have the sonic blaster, a frequency weapon that can rupture organs and shatters bones with sound alone. It fires waves of psychosonic energy that doesn't just kill, it stimulates. Both the wielder and the victim experience sensations beyond description as the flesh is flayed from bone by the pure noise. The Doom Siren are amplifiers mounted directly into their armor, sometimes into their very faces, that emit piercing screams capable of paralyzing entire squads with terror and agony. Imagine the sound of your own death amplified 1,000-fold, and then you'll begin to understand. The Blastmaster, sonic cannons of such power that they can level fortifications with a single reverberating note. Each shot is a crescendo of destruction, a symphony of annihilation. And the ammunition? This is where it becomes truly horrific. The sonic weaponry of the Noise Marines is said to be loaded with screams. Screams from the captured demons. Screams torn from Eldar spirit stones. Screams from sorcerers, and even shards of the Catan. The agony of eons, weaponized and unleashed. But do you want to know the real secret of the Noise Marines? The truth that even other Chaos warbands find disturbing? They don't fight for glory. They don't fight for conquest. They fight to sing. The Noise Marines believe they are adding their voices to the Song, the song of Slaanesh itself, a symphony that transcends time and space. This is the song the ancient Eldar began when their civilization collapsed into depravity. The song that literally sang Slaanesh into existence at the moment of the fall. But here's the paradox that drives them. The song moves both backwards and forwards through time. Without the song, Slaanesh might cease to exist. But without Slaanesh, the song would have never been sung. They are trapped in a temporal loop of their own making, forever compelled to add their voices to a choir that spans the entirety of existence. They are quasi-mystics, these Noise Marines. They see themselves as one with their god, their every scream and discharge of sonic weaponry, another note in an infinite composition. To fail in this duty, to fall silent, would be to condemn themselves to a mundane existence, to be cut off from the ecstasy of the eternal symphony. This is why many Noise Marines remain neutral in the endless power struggles between Chaos warbands. The petty conflicts of other traitor legions mean nothing to them. All that matters is the song. But make no mistake, this is not transcendence, this is degradation. After 10,000 years, the Noise Marines have lost much of what made them human, or even Astartes. They spend their entire time either in combat, adding their voices to the Ur song, or in desperate attempts to feel anything through their deadened senses. You see, the more they enhance themselves, the more stimulation they require. What once brought ecstasy now brings only numbness. They must seek louder sounds, more intense sensations, greater extremes of pleasure and pain, just to feel the faintest echo of what they once experienced. They are junkies in the truest sense, addicted to the sensation itself, forever chasing a high they can never quite reach again. And the greatest irony, the very enhancements that let them experience more have condemned them to feel less. In recent accounts from Fabius Bile's expeditions, we learned that speaking with a Noise Marine is an exercise in frustration. They struggle to modulate their voices, their every word emerging as a discordant shriek or a guttural roar. Conversation with them is painful for both parties, physically painful. These are wretched, these chosen of Slaanesh, glorious, terrible wretches. Now the story of the Maraviglia did not end with Bequa Kynska's death. Oh no. Her soul was claimed by Slaanesh, transformed into a demonette, and she endures still in the Dark Prince's realm. Recently, a Noise champion named Vritra the Howler claimed to have received a vision in the Garden of Slaanesh. He saw the daemonette that Kynska had become, and he made her an offer to help him recreate the Maraviglia, but updated for the 41st millennium, incorporating the discordant symphonies of the Noise Marines, the cultists, and the demonettes into one ultimate tribute to the Dark Prince. He calls it the Neoviglia, the new marvel. And if he succeeds, if he manages to force the entire galaxy to witness this performance as he intends, well, what happened aboard the Pride of the Emperor will seem like a mere prelude. So there you have it, seeker of the forbidden knowledge, the truth of the Noise Marines, from their birth in art and corruption to their current state of degraded ecstasy. They are warriors who fight not for territory or resources, but to hear the universe scream. They are musicians who have turned murder into melody, slaughter into symphony. They wield the very concept of sound as a weapon, tearing apart reality itself with noise. They were once the Emperor's finest, paragons of perfection, masters of every discipline. But now, they are the Dark Prince's favorite instruments, forever adding their voices to a song that creates and sustains their god across all of time. Some in the Imperium call them the most dangerous of all Chaos Space Marines, because they fight not out of rage like the World Eaters, or ambition like the Black Legion, but out of devotion. Devotion to sensation, to excess, to the eternal pursuit of sounds that can pierce the veil between worlds. So remember, if you ever hear the music on the battlefield, music where there should be only the sounds of war, do not stop to listen, and do not try to understand the melody. For if the Noise Marines have found you, if you can hear their symphony, then you are already dead. But your death simply hasn't caught up to the music yet. So sleep well tonight, knowing that they are out there, somewhere in the void. The Emperor's children are singing, and the song they sing, well, the song never ends.